I don't think we could ever get to this type of a model, but I love the thought of this model. And that is to separate the manufacturing from the harvesting, from the trees, from the growing. Getting to an area-based tenure so that you're tending the trees.
That's what I like.
To a much higher extent. You're essentially farming. You're maximizing your volume. You want to try to maximize what you can get from it. I would love to get to that type of model at some point. I don't know if it's possible.
So this is what happens in Sweden, and you've seen this.
Oh, yeah, I know the Sweden model.
So, and I've spent time in Europe, and I spent time in Sweden, and so, the ownership of timber is different than it is here, but they get 50% more volume per hectare than we do.
Look, we have the same timber harvesting land base as they have.
Yeah,
and they are harvesting. As you said, we could be at 50 million. They're at 100 million.
Yeah, and so the interesting part about that, John, sorry to interrupt you, big. I get all excited about this, is because they were at the same point that we were 40, 50 years ago. And then they changed.
They innovated and changed the models.
And the problem they have today is they got too much fiber available, not enough capacity.
Yeah.
And they are sitting somewhere around between 100 and 120 million cubic meters annually.
We could be doing the same thing here. But the thing is, we have this view of our forests, and historically this has been the case, where there's always the next valley to hurt. And so it's just a matter of, we're going to plant the trees, then we're going to let nature just take its course.
Yeah.
Instead of going in and managing and farming and dealing and managing fiber. And because there's been always the next valley, always the next watershed to go after, we've never worried about utilizing all the fiber, because we just take what we need out of it, we leave the rest, and we go on to the next.
It's the land of plenty, right?
And so that's changed. And so our whole thinking on forestry needs to change.
From the ground up.
From the ground up, the whole way.
Yeah.
And that includes, the tenure and how the tenures are done. I like the idea of having a use it or lose it policy.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talked about when I talked about changing stumpage is the highest stumpage you'll pay is on something that's exported. Obviously, the more you do locally, the less you'll pay, and it creates that incentive in place with it.
Yeah.
But we also have to look at our entire cost structure. Like, we are, as you know, by far the highest cost producers in North America, if not in the world.
Yeah.
And that can't happen. When you're the highest cost, whenever there's any disruption, you're the first to go down.
Yeah.
You're the last ones to get investment. We need to bring that cost down into the middle or into the lower third.
Yeah.
And so we have to do a hard look at everything we do, everything from the carbon tax, which has to go.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous, right? It's
got
to go. But everything through all of these costs, and time as well as one of those costs, to say, how do we get our industry to be competitive?